Well, thank you for coming to my talk. Talk today is When Space Elephants Attack, and it's about a new game that I'm bringing, or a new contest that I'm bringing to DEFCON today, or this weekend, which is called the Schemaverse, and it's just basically a game within a database. So, first quickly, who am I? I'm an expert in designing video game UI. I'm specialized in computer-human interaction. I'm a graphic designer, and I'm also a very skilled technical writer. Except I'm actually none of those things whatsoever. I made a game in a database. That wouldn't make any sense. So who am I really? Just a database geek. So, Schemaverse 101. It's a space battle game played entirely within a PostgreSQL database. There's actually no UI whatsoever, just glorious SQL queries constantly. The game itself is a tick-based game, so basically everyone has a chance to do one move, and then the tick finishes, some things are calculated, and then the next tick goes on. The database itself is completely open to the internet. Everyone who gets the address for it will be able to connect so long as you come to me first at the contest booth to sign up. Security is implemented within the database itself. There's also a couple dirty little Perl scripts here and there, but Perl's always dirty. Surprisingly, this game is actually a pretty good time, so I hope a couple people come, sign up, and give it a try. The game itself does also play after the con. There's just a constant running server you can join in. So why did I do this? Great question. Every geek needs a project. This just happens to be mine. I'm sure everyone can respect that. I also wanted to be educated myself on database security, learn a lot more, and learn about even just optimization and non-security elements. And I wanted to do the same and educate others on the matter. I also wanted to push database systems a little bit further. When I started creating this system, a lot of people told me, well, I asked the internet, because the internet is all-knowing, I said, what would you do to secure an open database on the internet? The only answer I got was don't. Well, why? What's wrong with that? It's just another application. What's missing from this system that would make this a bad idea? So this is what I wanted to find out. And I might find out this weekend. And finally, it's also pretty funny. It's a game in a database. Come on. So why bring it to DEFCON? Clearly, the last DEFCON that I've been at have just been too relaxing. Just drinking and having a good time. I felt I needed a little bit more stressful here. There also wasn't enough to break here, especially for the database geeks. So I've brought this here in hopes that you have a good time. So, getting into the actual gameplay. As I've mentioned, it's a tick-based game. Everyone goes, finished, new tick starts up. Basically, you command an army of ships who go out, conquer planets, and fight each other and blow things up. Sounds pretty good. So in the game, there's a bunch of different goals you can actually have. You can be a space jerk, running around just blowing people up, not really actually playing. You can be the emperor, just going and conquering every planet that you can find. You can be the planet pillager and just rape the crap out of all the lands and resources that you can find, using those resources to then build bigger and better things. Or, size matters. Build the biggest and best ships constantly, and you'll also win. But of course, there's one overall goal, which is to do all of those things and become the schema supremacy. So, how do you actually play this game? As I mentioned, you come to me, or anyone who's at the contest booth, and you ask to register. When you register, you get inserted into the player table, and then you get an actual user account on the database. Yes, you are a user on the database. You also get two things. You get a row in the players table, and you get a planet assigned to you as your home planet. So you can see when you start out in the player table, you got some money there. You got, looks like 10 million, I don't really remember. And then you got a fuel reserve to get you started too. You also have something called an air channel, which I'll get to later on. And finally, on your planet, you can see your planet has a location, has a name, which it's your planet. You can update the name if you'd like. It also has a mine limit. So that limit is only that number of ships can actually mine that planet per tick. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more later. And finally, the Conqueror ID, which is you. Great work. So the planet you get off the beginning is somewhere off the far center of the universe. The center of the universe is where most of the battle will happen. So you get this planet off nowhere, and it's kind of your own little home that no one's likely to find. So now you've got your player, you've got a planet. Great, what's next? Well, I said it's a space battle game, so you need some ships. So I wasn't kidding when I said this is a sequel game. So what you want to do to create some ships, which will cost you $1,000, virtual dollars, is insert into your ships table. Now there's a couple ways you can do that. It's fairly dynamic. You can either just give it a name and it'll be created at the center of the universe. You can give it some skill. Every ship gets 20 skill to start with, and you can kind of disperse that however you want. You can upgrade those more later on, but it's good just to have that initial go. And you can also specify the location of where you want to build. Now there's a little bit of extra rules there. Basically, if you're building within the center, 3,000 in every direction from 0, 0, you can build wherever you want within that. That's fine. Outside of that range, you can only build on planets that you've already conquered. So, you've got your home planet where no one can get to it. You go there, mine some resources, and then hit center Earth for the actual battle. So, what can ships actually do? Each of your ships have the ability to do 3 different actions. They can only do one of those actions per tick. So you have to decide what it's doing. When performing that action, both objects have to be within range of each other. Range is just another skill that your ship has. So what's the first action? Attacking, of course. So again, this is a sequel game, so there's a ships in range view to find all your enemy ships, because you can't normally see them. But if they're within range of your ships, then you can. So, using the attack function, you can actually attack from one of your ships to an enemy ship that is within range of you. Makes sense? Actual attacking uses your attack skill and their defense skill plus a little bit of luck, and then calculates that to your future health. That doesn't get committed until the end of the tick. Of course, if there's attacking, there's also repair. Repair is the same thing. You can actually repair anything within range of you. Repairing uses the engineering skill. No luck is really involved in that one, though. It's just engineering. And finally, there's mining. Mining is how you get all the resources in the game. Mining is how you continue on and build up your fleets and improve. So when you mine a planet, nothing happens instantly. You get added to a table called, don't remember. Anyways, it's added to a mining table where it's just temporary for that tick that says this ship is mining this planet. At the end of the tick, all ships that tried to mine each planet try and do so. Now keep in mind there's that mine limit. So only a certain number of ships can mine a planet per tick. If you mine a planet more than anyone else that tick, you now conquer that planet. Oh, and you also get the resources. You don't have to conquer to get the resources, though. So obviously ships can also move around. And this is the most finicky part of the game. It's the thing that people complain the most about, but you can write a better move function in SQL. The game is open source. Please do so. So, there's really 2 ways you can use the move function. And keep in mind, this is a 2D game. A 3D game in a database would just be weird. So, the first way you can do it is actually give a speed and then a destination. If you give a speed and a destination, your ship must have enough fuel to start and then slow down. If you want to start, or if you want to speed up to 100, then it'll take 100 fuel. When you get to your destination, it's going to take another 100 fuel to slow down. You also require fuel for changing direction while moving. If you don't have enough fuel to slow down, but you have enough fuel to speed up, you're not going to be able to use that first methodology. It's going to stop you and say, this isn't going to work because I can't stop you and you have a destination. But it will at least return back the direction that it was trying to go to your air channel, which I'll get to later on. So the second way you can do it, if you don't have that much fuel and you don't actually care about stopping anywhere, is just specifying the speed and then the direction and then just null for the actual location. Your ship is just going to go off into wherever, doesn't really matter. You can refuel it later and stop it when you feel like it. So that's pretty much moving around. It's not too hard, but for some reason it is difficult. Nice little graph there on how moving actually goes as far as the direction. Not too complicated. So, you got these awesome ships, but you want them to be better. You want that size matters award, maybe. Well, there are a lot of upgrades you can do. You can upgrade the health, the fuel, the speed, range. Range is a good one. Attack, defense, engineering, and prospecting. Prospecting is your mining. Should have mentioned that. Every skill does have a limit that you can upgrade it to. Attack, defense, engineering, and prospecting have a limit of 500 total. They can't surpass that. Everything else has its own limit. It's right there. It's also on the CD if you want to reference it. So, just kind of a recap of what's going on in the game, what happens in a tick. Every ship can move once in the tick. The amount it moves is based on its speed. Every ship performs a single action, or they might do nothing. That's really up to you. After that, the perform mining function takes action and actually calculates who is successful in mining that planet, gives out resources, and awards new planet conqueror to anyone who's successfully done it. Planets will run out of fuel, so if that happens, some planets randomly will receive more fuel after each tick. Afterwards, damage and repair is committed. As I mentioned, attacking and repair happens to the future health. Future health becomes current health. Pretty simple. Any ship that has been at 0 health for 60 ticks is going to explode. And you can no longer use that ship. All your upgrades are gone, but you do get 1,000 virtual dollars of currency back, so that way you can build a new ship somewhere. And finally, tick_sequence.nextval. Tick goes to the next. It's pretty standard. So, general strategy, as I talked about earlier, basically you want to go build on your home planet that you've been given, build up to your mine limit, and just mine the crap out of that planet. That's going to give you all the resources you need to then build some great ships for the center where everyone else is going to converge and try and branch out to get all the other planets. You're going to want to make sure you actually defend any planet you conquer. If you conquer a new planet, build some new ships around it to attack anything and to defend.